Okay,
Okay.
we're back.
Back from a very surprise update.
Computer update in the
Computer
middle.
decided to do a BIOS update in the middle of the call.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember where we were. We were talking about that we hadn't.
We're talking about the team.
Okay, yeah. So we didn't want to take Melanie out there just because she's so open, and we knew that this was going to be a darker thing. We also didn't want to take Alva out for the same reason. He's
Right.
super open, and it's just like a safety precaution thing. And that we agreed to take Tina again and wanted to take Tina
Mhm.
because she did so well, I think, at that apartment out in Gresham where we were surprised by a darker energy that we didn't know was there. And she held her energy really well.
Coming soon episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be like 7 or 8 or something like that.
Something like that.
It'll be
Yeah.
a two-part one too, because there was so much there. But yeah, so I think that we took her out and then we had Jim with us.
Mhm.
And
Who's always well grounded.
yeah, Jim's super grounded. I don't ever have a worry about him. We still do normal protection stuff, but he's got his stuff covered. So uh
Yeah.
yeah. And then so we went out there and we decided to go that day, I think, with like very little notice because Jim's schedule opened up for filming and we wanted to film this one because we knew it was going to be different. And so we went out and we were joking that none of us looked great on camera for this episode.
We look terrible. Terrible for this
Not that
episode.
not that that's like what this is about at all, but then we realized we just filmed something that's going to live on the internet forever.
Of
And like none of us got ready or did our hair
course.
or anything.
And it
And
was like 104 or something like that. For like it was like one of those stretches of like 5 days of heat and
yeah,
yeah.
this episode was filmed in like mid-August, I think. It was last summer.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't tell on footage. And also we're wearing our sweatshirts because we're supposed to be wearing the team sweatshirts. And yeah, it's over 100 degrees. And
Which is also why it's tough in some places on audio because the air conditioner kept coming on and off, which changes your background noise.
yeah.
So that's kind of a challenge on this episode with audio too.
Yeah, Jim was having a cow with the audio,
Yeah.
which is understandable because he wants it to be
Yeah.
very audible. Also, because we're trying to pick up like audio evidence. And
Right.
we tried turning that air conditioner off for a few minutes and it just immediately was like 110 degrees. So we're like, nope, that's staying on.
Nope, that's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think we got out.
And we also were only there for a fairly short period of time. So that was our opening of when we were able to be there. We
Yes.
knew it had to be a pretty short investigation and some sort of resolution that we'd be able to do relatively quickly.
Yeah, we did this whole one in one day. So
Mhm.
that was
Half a day.
yeah, it was fast. And it was good though, because I think we realized too, part of our approach to this is not dragging it out, like with the darker entities and the messages that I've gotten from my guides in spirit are that we're not meant to engage with them or communicate with them. And so that was, I went into that sharing that with the rest of the team and everybody was on board. And I think right when we got there, we realized that she was communicating with them very often and like having a
Yeah.
dialogue with the entities. And we saw that that was probably one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why this connection had, or it was multiple connections, had been there for so long and why they were so strong.
Yeah. And getting stronger
Right.
because, it just worn her down
Mhm.
so much. And it was you know, it was an open connection
Yeah.
that it had just become, strong for her. And it really was more, I think that some of the places that we go, there's a lot to do with the space. And this was really a lot to do with her.
Yeah, it was. We could tell early too, yeah, like you said, that it was all focused around her. The
Mhm.
only aspect involved, I guess, with the apartment was that a couple of those smaller ones I saw as like hiding out in some of the locations because they weren't physically attached, I guess. But they were like hanging out in closets and stuff. But other than that, it was just all focused on her, not the location.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah. So I think that we went into it all knowing that we weren't going to communicate with them, but at that early table talk, I think we were surprised how much pushback we were feeling. It was a
Yeah,
lot, and I don't know that that comes through on the film because we also had talked about prior to going in that we did not want to feed into her fears at all. And our
right,
goal was staying very calm and making sure that she knew and that we knew as a team too, because this was our first team case with a demonic entity this way. We've done them in the past, you and I, and
right. We have.
we've done a few privately. Um, but with Jim and with Tina and with a client, if you will, or this person reaching out to us and the aspect of cameras and all that. And it was just different. This was the first time where, yeah, there was just, it was more complex trying to
Hmm.
get it to kind of come through and convey, but also showing that we're not meant to engage and that we, fear and not showing fear is the most important thing here.
Hmm.
So we right away, I think you and I and Tina were feeling that intense pushback as soon as we went into the apartment.
Yeah.
We had to kind of state what we were feeling, but also not, feed into it.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah,
And
I
it was surprising when, um, she was talking and then a little bit into it, it's like, uh, you could feel enough come up. Like I started doing some protection prayers, and I think sometimes what that comes across, the way that comes across is being distracted. Like it seems like when I look back through footage, like when we're editing and stuff, and I look back through footage, it's like, ugh, look distracted.
Mhm.
And in all reality, it's that we are like internally working on things
Right.
as well of protecting, our both us and I was really concerned because I mean, I've just, worked on protecting you
Mhm.
a lot of times, when you were young and growing up and all of that and things we've had going on and stuff. So I feel I like get this like mama bear thing going on where I feel like I want to protect the team too. And because I didn't know this was it was fast and it was you could tell it was um kind of a bigger type thing or more intelligent. I guess I
Mhm.
would say that. More intelligent. Yeah.
Right. And there was that, I mean, we had to cut that table conversation down so much because we sat there and talked her through kind of what we were seeing and feeling. And, we just had to make an episode out of it. But we sat there and talked with her for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours,
Yeah,
I
it was a
think,
long time. Yeah.
and helping her to completely reframe what was happening and kind of getting her power back and feeling more confident. But as we were having those conversations multiple times throughout, we would feel that push, which is again unique to sort of these darker entities and energies, where again you and I have felt this on other cases that we've worked with
You want
them.
to pause for a sec?
Sure.
Can you hear the alarm going off
I do hear
outside?
an alarm going off, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
but
hoping it will go off.
it's fine, it's not that loud.
Oh, it's not. Okay, it's really loud right
I
here.
don't hear it at all on your camera.
All right.
Um, I mean, I just hear it very quietly on your camera. It's not disrupting.
Mhm.
But I think that the disruptions are something that we see and feel from them, and it's a very weird feeling when you feel that kind of pressure and oppression to the point where it like stops your thought mid-sentence.
Mhm.
And or what we see too is it will twist a thought to become something like absolutely like the antithesis, the opposite of what you're trying to say. Where if we're
Right.
trying to say, I don't even want to say it, but a lot of times what'll happen will be something like, I only want to connect to the light. We'll say something like that, and it'll flip it to like, I want to connect to the dark. And you're like,
Mhm.
whoa, what did I
Yeah,
just say?
hold on.
Like,
Yeah.
that is not what I mean.
Mhm.
And we were all having that type of thing where it was flipping our thoughts. And then obviously Maria at the end was having that experience of not being able to get through the prayers that she knew by heart. And we see that as well.
Which we've had
Um,
before. We've individually experienced that before.
yes,
But
we've
that's
had
why
that.
it's always good to be in a team situation because you can kind of check each other on it or see what's happening and, kind of re-steer
Right,
things
which
the
we're
way they need to
seeing.
be going.
Yeah, we're realizing that a lot of times on these ones, it's kind of a numbers game too, where it's just like you said, it's better to have more people present for them. So we like having a team of 4+ people there.
Mhm.
Um, it's just I think it's safer and it's better if somebody ends up because sometimes one person is more affected by a certain type of energy or entity, and so the other ones can kind of take over and pick up that role.
Mhm.
But I remember this is the only one I've ever had where it physically was like making it hard for me to speak. Um, like through the prayer section. And we saw that at
Right.
the table where it was a very weird feeling. It didn't feel like I was being choked or anything, but it was like my voice was getting quieter and more hoarse. And I was like, it was a weird feeling. And I think that you had a bit of that too. In
Mhm.
parts, especially that part where you were saying really beautiful things. I think some of it's in the episode to her about taking back her power and seeing that not letting that experience she had of one going with her into a church kind of rattle her
Right.
faith. Um, yeah, I think that
Yeah.
everything you were saying there made a huge difference.
And also, I really felt like, I mean, that was me, but that was also, I feel like that was guides pushing me to say the things that she needed to hear.
Mhm.
Um, and, in a powerful way. She needed to take her power back.
Right.
And so she needed to hear these things in a way that was very strong.
Hmm.
And and I was definitely being influenced by my guides to state those things in an absolute way, you
Yeah,
know,
very
and
firm.
very firm. In both like at the table setting, because she really you could see when she said that, and you could see this shift, like it
Hmm.
rocked her, it rocked her world that could happen in
Right.
church. And then there was a later time too when she had was talking about, oh, I think she was worried because they were messing with her when she was trying to say the prayer.
Hmm.
And that really had shook her as well. And so yeah, I think that again is where, we're blessed with these guides to help us be able to do what we're doing, um, or what they want us to be doing. And
Hmm.
and but I think they also help us to be able to communicate in a way. I see you do it all the time. Communicate in a way that the individual or the soul needs to hear that. It's the way that they need to be related to, and it may be a guide to guide thing, and then they just kind of pop that in our heads, so that's the way that we say it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's very true. And I saw you have that shift there where you weren't quite channeling, but something was really guiding you on how to speak to her and what to speak to her about that would help to bring her into a place of feeling more safe and more secure and
Mhm.
more power.
Yeah.
I need to pause real quick because I'm not plugged in and my computer is giving me a battery warning.
Oh.